Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Women's Business Development Center, WBDC, and WBENC, Women's Business Enterprise National Council Onboarding Webinar. My name is Karen Goldner. I am the Managing Director of Certification and Established Business Services for the Women's Business Development Center, with offices in Chicago, the Twin Cities, Milwaukee, Kansas City, and St. Louis, and serving 9 Midwestern states. In the next 45 minutes or so, we'll walk through the WBENC network and services, the WBDC and our services, and how we all fit together to help you grow your business. A couple of housekeeping points. This program is being recorded, as I mentioned, but the deck is not shared. This version will go on to our archived webinars in our digital learning library, and I'll get you a link at the end of the chat for that. This program is designed for certified WBEs. If you are not certified and have questions about that, you're certainly welcome to stay, but we won't be focused a lot on how to get certified. This is more assuming that you already are certified. The WBDC does offer certification know before you apply webinars, both, well, workshops and webinars, live and recorded, and that would probably be the best place to go for more specific questions, but again, you're welcome to stay for this. So first of all, congratulations. You have taken the first step, which is getting certified. And now you are taking the second step to educate yourself about how to engage with WBDC and WBENC to grow your business. So today we're going to be covering 3 topics from a WBENC National Office perspective, the WBENC overview, the WBENC network, and WBENC's core platform of certification, opportunities, resources, and engagement. This information, coupled with the regional information from our perspective at the WBDC, will allow you to see how the entire WBENC network is here to support you. WBENC's mission is to fuel economic growth through access to opportunities by identifying, certifying, and facilitating development of women-owned businesses. WBENC is the largest certifier of both WBE, Women's Business Enterprise, and WOSB, Women-Owned Small Business, the federal government certification. And in addition, along with the regional partner organizations, such as the WBDC, is the largest women's business development organization. And I guess I will apologize here for all of the acronyms. Sorry about that. WBENC's core platform in delivering value, again, is through certification, opportunities, resources, and engagement. Most important part of this slide, you are part of a very large network of women-owned businesses, corporate advocates, and resource providers across the country. There are currently 20,000 plus certified WBEs, and of that, there's also about 8,000 certified WOSBs, several hundred corporate members, and 14 regional partners, including the WBDC across the country. So welcome. All WBENC certified WBEs are certified by the RPO, another acronym, Regional Partner Organization, in their headquartered state. We have 14 RPOs across the country, many of whom have branch offices where you can get involved based on your company's footprint or desired footprint. You can see us right here, this kind of purple color. We have offices, as I said, in Chicago, Milwaukee, the Twin Cities, actually in St. Paul, Kansas City, and St. Louis, and we serve these 9 Midwestern states. Please feel free to attend regional partner office RPO events wherever you would find it most helpful. For instance, if you are looking to expand into Atlanta or Vegas or wherever you might have other operations or other desired customers, please do engage with all of us. We strongly encourage you to get involved specifically with us, the Women's Business Development Center, since we are your RPO. I'm going to talk through opportunities and resources both locally and also at the national level. So the previous slide provided a great visual map, and then this is obviously a list of all of the WBENC regional partner organizations. And so you can also find this information, obviously, on the WBENC website, WBENC.org. So when you applied for certification, WBENC Link was simply an application portal. Now that you're certified, it is much more. All the brand guidelines and logos. So, and we'll talk a lot more about the logos, but essentially these two are housed on WBENC Link and can be accessed on the left side of the menu bar when you're in the WBENC Link system. It contains all of the specs and an array of versions for your use. If you scroll to the bottom of the brand guidelines page, you'll also see a sample news release, which you can certainly use if you'd like. I'm going to say this again because there's always someone who asks me at the end, where do I get the logos? So you sign into WBENC Link using your username and password. On the left side of the menu bar, you'll see brand guidelines, and that will, you click on that, and that leads you into a place where you can download all of a variety of different versions of the logos. So let's talk a little bit more about that. The WBENC brand is well respected in the marketplace, and displaying the WBENC certified seal or the women-owned logo on your website, marketing material, or packaging can be very beneficial. You can use either or both as you wish. I don't know if I mentioned, I'm in our Chicago office. I live in Chicago, and one day I was walking along in my neighborhood and I saw a CTA bus go by, just a city bus, that one of our large WBEs was, who has consumer products, had, bought a wrap for the bus for advertising. And at the back of it, it had a women-owned logo, and it was exciting to see. And I was very sad that the bus went by before I could grab my phone out and take a picture of it. Anyway, so if you are wrapping buses in your community, you are welcome to use the women-owned logo, which is more focused for the consumer market. I will say more of our WBEs, rather than putting them on buses, we'll put them on your packaging or whatever, your website. Again, WBENC, this seal is a little bit more B2B kind of thing, right? Consumers won't know what this means, so that's where the women-owned logo can come in. And also people use both. So it's completely up to you what you'd like to do. Here are a few uses. They didn't get the bus up there, but there's a number of ways that WBEs are using the logo. In addition to putting the women-owned logo on your product, which you can see right here, WBENC has a dedicated website, which is by BUI, womenowned.com right here. And we encourage you to access it when you're doing any kind of shopping for yourself, and also to let us know if you have a product in the stores or a product that is consumer facing that you're trying to get into stores. And so I will put the link to that in the chat at the end for those of you who are on the live version. Otherwise, for those of you watching later, you can just copy that down. Okay. So if you are the kind of person who likes brand guidelines, this slide is so exciting for you. I am not one of those people, so I'm just going to focus on a couple of important points. What we are talking about today is the WBENC certification. There are other types of WBE certification that different governments, such as the state of Missouri or the city of Chicago or what have you, use. Those government certifications are designed for purposes of selling to those governments, right? If you are located within Chicago, but aren't going to sell products or services to the city of Chicago, your getting city certified is probably not relevant, right? And we do have a variety of opportunities for you to learn more about those different government certifications if that's of interest to you. But today we are talking about the WBENC certified WBE, which is focused really more on corporate America. And also the business itself is what is certified. You as a human owner are not certified. And the relevant part of that point is that if you were ever to create a second business that you would want to be certified, that second business would need to be certified separately. So as we previously mentioned, WBENC provides two types of certifications, the WBE, which is used primarily in the private sector, and the WOSB, Women-Owned Small Business, which is used to sell to the United States federal government. Many of our WBEs have both WBE and WOSB certification. As many of you know, you first applied, well, you applied for WBENC and then added on the WOSB. If you are recently certified, WBE certified, and it's been less than a month since you've been certified, since you've been WBE certified, we're probably still working on your WOSB certification. If you haven't heard anything from us, I would encourage you to just look in WBENC link, make sure that there's not any open Q&A questions that we might be missing a document or anything. And then if that's the case, then just kind of wait for a bit. If it's been more than a month and there's no open Q&As, please reach out to me. I'm going to put my email in the chat at the end, and we'll just make sure that nothing, went wrong, or, we are humans and sometimes mistakes happen. The other thing I will mention is that if you would like the WOSB logo, you would need to get that basically from the SBA. And by that, the far easier thing to do is to simply Google it. But it is not available to you through us because we are only able to give you the WBENC logos that I previously shared. So your WBE and WOSB certification needs to be renewed each year. You'll receive an automated notification 120 days prior to your expiration, but we encourage you to simply mark your calendar. The purpose of recertification is to make sure that updated WBE information is available in WBENC link and to ensure the integrity of the certification, making sure that companies continue to meet WBENC standards. The recertification application, here's the good news, is much less time consuming for you than getting certified. You simply provide things that have changed, which is going to be updated taxes and financials, right? Because time has passed. But that may be all you're going to need to provide unless you've updated your lease or, whatever, something like that, or changed ownership for sure. The review process is therefore generally faster too. And we generally look for, about a 30 to 45 day window for us to renew your certification. We ask that you kind of give us 60 days because then there's not going to be a problem. Every month, there are a lot of women who say, they submit their application like a day before it's due or before it expires rather. And then they want us to help them with whatever. And it's like, we'll do it as fast as we can. But if your renewal date is June 30th, when June 30th happens, if we have not approved your renewal, you expire and you will be in expired status until we get the renewal done. And so that's just the way it goes. You will not show up on searches and so forth. So we really ask you, even you can apply even 120 days in advance. It does not change that June 30th date. So if you on March 15th get us your renewal in, first of all, you don't need to give us your taxes because they're not due until April. So you don't have to wait on your taxes. And you can just get the renewal in, give us last year's taxes, which we already have, but you got to give us something. So that's fine. And we'll just have you then in the future catch up the next year. We'll get the renewal done and it will stay June 30th. You do not lose money. You do not lose time. You do lose stress. So I would recommend that you consider doing that. Mark your calendar because a lot of times these auto-generated emails go to your spam or you just ignore them. Just put it on your calendar. It'll take you an hour and then it'll be done. The other thing is every 3 years, we need to do an updated virtual site visit. And so most of you had virtual site visits when you were certified. If you were a manufacturing company, we might have done an in-person site visit. But in any event, the renewals are always done virtually. And that obviously takes a little bit longer. So again, 120 days, then you just don't have to worry about it. If you've made ownership changes, you technically need to tell us within 30 days of the ownership change happening. You would go through the process, and if that's going to be an issue, just reach out to me. I can tell you how to do it. I'm not going to walk you through it right now because it's not necessary. But but if that happens around the time of renewal, you can just do it all at once. There's no charge for changing the ownership. That's just a process. But if you have made ownership changes, we have to take it back to our committee for them to look at and say, oh, it used to just be Maria owning the company and now it's Maria and Fred. So, or frankly, even if it's Maria and another woman, we still need to just go through that process. It's generally pretty non-controversial, but it can take time. So that's the renewal process, the recert process. Okay, so now that you're certified, what are you going to do with it? Like any business tool, putting it on your website and forgetting about it is not a great strategy. So first of all, use the WBENC link account to make sure your profile is complete and accurate. And many WBEs don't use the business description fields very well. This is basically what they really should say is list all the keywords of the things you sell. But they don't. So people put things like Goldner Enterprises is a proud third-generation family-owned business that provides excellent services for our valued customers, right? That's not helpful when we're looking for a search, right? You have no idea what I do based on what I just said. So what you should do, I mean, similarly, words like excellent and high quality don't matter. If you're certified to license or licensed, whatever, to sell or work on, for instance, particular brands of HVAC equipment, manufacturer certified, or if you have specific types of services that you offer, specific types of goods that you offer, yes, you have a NAICS code, NAICS code, the commodity code, which says that you're a advertising agency or a law firm or a janitorial service or what have you. But often those are not super focused, right? And so, for instance, I was just doing a search for a law firm, but the person who asked was actually another WBE, and she's got a contract dispute with the state government. So that's, relatively specialized. So I had to go through and look for, different websites to try to figure it out. So make it easy, and just, because a lot of times the corporates aren't going to go to that extra step of trouble. They're going to just try and find who they can find right away. So there's a classic case, which is a company had described their business as selling seating. What they meant by that was chairs. The corporate who was looking for them typed in chairs into the search engine, and obviously the people who had seating didn't, show up. The people who had chairs showed up. So you just want to think about how does your customer think about you and use those words. So to find out what those words are, you can basically just do a search for yourself. You'll click on the WBE and view it, and then you'll see in your profile what it says. If you're not happy with that, then unfortunately you can't change it yourself. You need to just reach out to me and we can set up a quick time to do it and we can take care of that. The other thing is that WBENC does do WBENC training every month, obviously online, obviously at no charge. You can just go to WBENC link, but not sign in. And at the very front page, it says, see our upcoming schedule, and just click view and you can save your spot. This is a little bit more focused on applying, which generally you're not going to need to worry about right now, but you're welcome to do that. The other thing is that the WBDC offers essentials of leveraging your WBE certification every other month. So this is a two-part series. It is on Mondays at 11 o'clock for about an hour and a half. I think the third and the fourth Monday, whatever. I'm going to put the link in the chat. For those of you who are watching recorded, please go to our website, wbdc.org, and go to the events calendar, and then you'll be able to see when it's being offered. Highly recommend that you attend that. All right. So next step is to create your target list. Don't limit yourself to corporations. Depending on your business, it might make as much or more sense to look at either subcontracting opportunities, also called tier 2 opportunities, as well as selling to other WBEs in addition to corporate sales. So we're here to help. So please feel free to reach out and make an appointment to talk with myself or one of my other colleagues. I'm going to put my information in the chat to help you think through a strategy and appropriate tactics. It makes most sense for you to attend the essentials of leveraging first. That really helps you frame everything. If you're not available for the live version, there is a recorded version on our website. Again, I'm going to put the links to our digital learning library and archived webinars in the chat when we're done. Or you can also just call on the telephone. So the WBDC offers signature events in our major markets each year, as well as a regional event. This year is very exciting. It is our 40th anniversary of the WBDC. And so our events this year are going to be super fun. And they will be starting in Milwaukee, July 23rd, Kansas City, August 13th, the Twin Cities, September 15th, St. Louis, September 22nd, and Chicago, October 15th. All of these are on our website. I'll put a link to those in the chat for those of you watching later. Definitely go to our website, wbdc.org, to confirm dates and details. And if we missed you, sorry. We also do virtual events. We do a virtual connections program, which is kind of breakout rooms every year. Typically, that's in May. The Midwest Utility Conference is typically in the winter, which is a super exciting opportunity if you are in that industry. We also do another program, which I didn't put in here because it's very industry specific, and that's called Top Shelf, which is a 8-week virtual program. It's available for all small businesses, not just WBEs, who have consumer packaged goods that they want to get into mass retail. So that's an exciting program. The other program we're actually in right now this summer, and we anticipate offering it next summer, is called SAGE, which I can never remember what SAGE stands for, but it's an exciting program with Capital One. It's a 4-month, 2-day in-person event. So it's 8 days total. That is really designed to help established businesses, maybe in the low to mid 6 figures, get to that $1 million or above. You develop a strategic business plan. You work with other more senior WBEs in our region. You work with Capital One professionals. It is not salesy, so don't worry about that. The women who are involved in it are just, I mean, it's a very exciting program. So that's something to keep in mind as well. And you will hear more about that as time goes on when we recruit for it next year. So once you've gotten your foot in the door, it's time to pitch. The WBDC has online and live events that can help. If you don't have a strong capability statement, you need to. These would be clear, concise, and fact-based, listing major projects or ideally customers. In our digital learning library, we have a 20-minute video on this topic, which I'm going to put a link to that at the end. And in addition, it is discussed at length as the second part of our WBE Essentials to Leveraging Your WBE Certification, which is that program coming up in August that is offered every other month. So as I mentioned at the beginning of this workshop, we have offices in 5 states. For WBE certification and procurement services, please contact us at our headquarters in Chicago or at any of our major market offices in Kansas City, Milwaukee, St. Louis, and the Twin Cities. In addition to certification and procurement connections, the WBDC offers services such as help with business plans, small business lending, and government contracting to Illinois businesses that are funded by the state of Illinois and other government grants. We provide these services at our headquarters location in downtown Chicago, as well as 2 Illinois satellite locations. If you are not based in Illinois, these services are available to you through local partners, such as Women's Business Centers and Apex Accelerator government contracting centers throughout the country and certainly throughout our region. If you have trouble getting connected in your state or your locality, please just reach out to us and we can help make those connections. In addition to the WBDC's events, WBENC also offers a variety of programs to help you grow your business. Some of these are virtual and some are in person. You really want to think about your certification as entry into kind of 2 sort of overlapping networks. Again, we've got all of the WBDC, the 2,400 plus WBEs in our 9 Midwestern states, and then also WBENC at the national level. And you can access both of our services. As I said, you also think about going to events outside of our region that some of the other regional partners offer, if that's of interest to you as well. So you've got a plethora of services from several agencies that are here to help you. So here is a bit more detail, quite a bit more detail, on the many executive education and affinity programs that WBENC offers. I do want to highlight something, We Ignite. This is something that is offered typically annually, again, by WBENC. And it's, if people are familiar with the Traction program or EOS, Entrepreneur Operating System, it's a guy wrote a book in the 90s, I think, or 80s. I don't know. It's been around a long time, but it's a very great way of looking at how to operate your business. It's not about sales. Um, but it's about, you know, who in your business does what and so forth. I've never met anybody who did not just get inspired and find it super helpful. You could just Google, find an EOS person near me, and you could find somebody, a consultant who would charge you, and you know, you might decide to do that. This program is free, and also you're doing it in a cohort setting with a bunch of other WBEs. So it's very exciting. So it's something to keep an eye out. So this is where I talk about email. Um, we send you emails. WeBank sends you emails. We don't know how else to get a hold of you. Obviously, nobody from WeBank is going to make 20,000 phone calls next time they have a program. We understand that everybody gets too many emails. Um, I get too many emails. Everybody does. It's the way life goes. We ask you to take a look at those emails. And you know, if it's something that you are not interested in, you can simply delete it and look at the next email because maybe the next one will be. We try very hard to make sure that they are relevant, but obviously, you know, they won't all be. Um, Also, I will say this, as you probably all know, because you use various email programming in your own businesses, when somebody unsubscribes, they're gone. And we can't get them again. So I would, again, just encourage you to have a little grace, just delete it if it's not helpful. But if it is something you're interested in, I would encourage you to sign up for it pretty quickly. Some of the more popular WeBank programs and WBDC programs fill up pretty fast. So I'm not saying, you know, that second, but I am saying don't necessarily let it go 3 or 4 weeks because at that point the program may be filled up, especially some of the virtual WeBank programs where you've got essentially 20,000 people who are potentially interested in a program that might have 50 slots or something. The other thing I'm going to mention is the WeBank Pitch, which is an annual event. It just so happens at the time of this recording, in mid-July 2026. It is we've recruited for the program and it's going to be offered in August. But it is an opportunity to pitch in a competitive environment. And the first round of that pitch is done at the regional partner level. And then if you know, then you would, the top 3 or 4 move on to the national semifinals and it goes on from there. The other thing is that the WBDC offers what I would call pitch educational programs, um, which are um, not contests, but opportunities to improve your pitching skills and to sometimes get in front of corporate partners and other WBEs. So that's another great program. I do want to call out that I am seeing so much activity in the chat. And so you ladies are rocking it and connecting with each other. And I think that is awesome. So that is again, you are taking this networking word at its word, and that's good because just putting the certificate in your desk drawer, so to speak, is just not really going to be beneficial for you. Okay. One particular program that WeBank offers that I want to note is the annual national conference. This brings together 2,000 to 3,000 WBEs, corporate partners, and government representatives. It includes small group networking opportunities, a large trade show, workshop speakers. It's amazing. The 2027 National Conference will be held June 14th to 17th in Kissimmee, Florida. I think I'm saying that right. Suburban Orlando. I hope nobody from Florida is going to call me and yell at me, but it's down there. It's in Florida. Okay. So If you are looking to sell nationally, or if you are looking to just really be inspired, and you don't mind Florida in June, definitely mark your calendar. You will obviously hear tons more about that starting in the wintertime, as WBENC starts to get more and more details of the program. There you go. Save the date. Okay. So this slide summarizes a lot of ways to leverage your certification. I've already mentioned procurement events, which include both our regional signature events and other opportunities to meet with corporate and government representatives. These programs have varied formats, sometimes, well, generally determined by the needs of the customers. Sometimes they're panels, sometimes networking, sometimes more formal matchmakers. As you all have already started do not overlook the value of developing relationships with other WBEs, whether it's customers, partners, mentors, sometimes just friends. These relationships can be personally and professionally rewarding. As I don't need to tell you, being an entrepreneur is sometimes quite lonely, right? You're often the only person within your organization. I mean, it's not appropriate necessarily to share, sort of your personal challenges with some of your employees, or maybe you're a solopreneur right now. Reach out to other WBEs. The network is so supportive. And so I just really encourage you to do that. Okay, as part of our signature events, sometimes we will recognize leaders and supporters every year. And we also can support media exposure for you through our social media. So if you have received an award or have a significant anniversary, and I define significant as divisible by 5, if it's significant enough for you to put it on LinkedIn, send me the link. Just email me the link, and I'll have our marketing people share it. We are not able to like advertise speaking opportunities or sales or anything like that. As you can imagine, with 2,400 plus WBEs, that just doesn't work. But certainly if you've gotten, a Chamber of Commerce award or an industry award in your, in your industry, we want to be able to share those kinds of things with our several thousand LinkedIn and other other folks in our network. The other thing, and I will put this link in the chat at the end, is we have something called WBE Spotlight, which is more an Instagram and website spotlight. And there's a little quick form you can just fill out. Basically, you end up getting on a list. And then every month, our marketing person will look at it, basically take the top 2 off the list, and reach out to you and say, can you fill out this quick little form just to give us some content from you, some comments and some pictures and stuff that we can put together. And then she'll let you know when it's going to be. And don't forget our digital learning library. I will put that in the chat. That is where this recording will live, and also lots of others that I've mentioned. Okay. The other thing I want to highlight here is the merger, acquisition, and succession planning support. Restructuring, bringing in investors, or transferring ownership will all impact your certification. It may not matter to you today, but please put this in your head for future reference. When you get to the point where you are thinking about changing the structure and capitalization of your company, please let us know. Through confidential discussions and suggestions, we have been able to help WBEs maintain the control they need to stay certified, or transition their company to the next generation in a way that continues their certification while also positioning their companies for the future. Do reach out to us if you have any questions or whatever. We are here to help. So once you've started growing your business by leveraging your WBE certification, you may want to deepen your relationship with WBENC and the WBDC. And this is like any network type of organization. You get out of it what you put into it. And one of the biggest values of the WBE certification is building connections with other WBEs as well as corporate partners, and taking advantage of the educational programming that we and WBENC offer. And when you come, please make sure to engage with people that you don't know yet. We are all so trapped and strapped to our phones, and everyone is very busy. And also, if you're going to go to the expense, whether it's travel expense or simply just the time expense of being in a room with other people, don't waste that money by having your head in the phone. So connect with each other. And I wish that those people who are watching this in a recorded way could see the amazing connections that are being made just in the chat in this onboarding session. So kudos to you ladies. So every year, 14 exemplary women business leaders representing each of the 14 regional partner organizations are selected as WBE stars to receive the nation's premier award for excellence among WBEs, which is bestowed annually at the national conference. Legacy of Leaders was established to create a strategic role for dedicated and successful leadership, both corporate government and also WBEs, who demonstrate a deep commitment to their organization and who previously have held leadership roles within the network. So at the regional level, there's a number of ways to get involved with the WBDC. I am actually going to start, this is not really in a good order, but the WBE roundtables. So twice a year, we have virtual roundtables that are designed for you all to give us input on, to some extent, what you're seeing in the marketplace, but also how we can do better, right? What do you want from us? And there's a great opportunity to just do some networking in a pretty, chill environment because it's virtual and it lasts about an hour. We try to share with you things that we are hearing. Obviously, in this last 18 months, there have been a lot of things that we've been hearing. And so helping kind of just share information back and forth. After you've been certified for a while, you may have interest in being in our certification committee, which is virtual. We do, obviously, you're all aware of the site visits. Sometimes when we are doing an in-person site visit, we might call on a volunteer to do that if it's in a region, I don't know, Omaha or somewhere where we don't have easy access if it has to be a in-person site visit. We do have major sponsorship opportunities for events. Sometimes those can come with speaking opportunities. And then, of course, from time to time, we have projects or programs where your leadership can be valuable both to you and to us. So thank you so much for participating in this webinar. I hope you find it helpful. We are really pleased that you are part of the WBENC and the WBDC communities. As I mentioned, this webinar is archived on our WBDC website in archive webinars, so you can watch it again and again and again if you'd like. And remember to reach out to us if you have any questions. Thank you so much.